In the quiet space between waking and sleep, imagine the planet as it once was, softly wrapped in endless forests that stretched across every horizon, a world breathing in shades of deep and gentle green. The air felt warmer then, slower, almost drowsy, as though Earth itself exhaled beneath a canopy that sheltered ages beyond memory. Light drifted through those leaves in pale, wandering threads, quiet, unhurried, settling on mosses that glowed faintly in the dim, ancient calm. And for a moment, you may feel yourself drifting there too, carried by the soft rhythm of a world shaped entirely by trees. As you step deeper into this imagined landscape, the forest unfolds like a slow heartbeat, trunks rising from the soil in patient columns, crowns swaying with a tenderness that only time could teach. Roots weave beneath you in gentle lattices, holding the land together as if the earth and its forests were sharing a long, peaceful breath. Every movement seems softened, every breeze a whisper, every shadow a lullaby drifting through the undergrowth. Life here speaks in hushes, not in sounds, in the subtle pulse of leaves and the quiet shimmer of green light. The silence of this ancient world is not empty. It is full of small, soothing textures, the soft cushion of damp soil, the faint scent of living wood, the delicate patter of moisture falling from tall branches. Each detail feels as though it has been waiting, patiently, for someone to notice. And in this stillness, the forest becomes a kind companion, wrapping itself around the land with a gentleness that invites the mind to slow, to settle, to breathe in harmony with the past. Sunlight filters through the canopy in drifting beams, turning the air into a glowing mist, warm, suspended, barely moving. Spores float slowly through these golden columns, dancing in patterns too subtle to disturb the quiet. Even time seems softened here, stretching into long, peaceful moments where the world holds itself steady, inviting you to linger a little longer in its calm. Breathing becomes easier, slower, as if guided by the forest's own ancient rhythm. And as the whispers of this forgotten earth settle deeper into your imagination, a path begins to emerge through the soft green haze. Not a sharp trail, but a gentle invitation. It encourages you to follow the roots of memory towards stories still hidden beneath the canopy. Stories shaped by ages of growth, by patient evolution, by the rise and fall of worlds wrapped in green. And with each quiet step forward, you drift naturally toward the deeper journey waiting just beyond the trees, where the ancient forest opens the door to time itself. In the quiet hush of Earth's earliest greenery, life began close to the ground, small, soft, and almost hidden against the damp surfaces of stone and soil. These first plants did not reach upward. They spread gently across the land in thin, delicate layers, forming humble mats of moss-like forms that held the moisture of a young world. Their presence was subtle, a faint breath of green brushing against the silence. Yet in their stillness, they carried the earliest hints of the forests that would one day rise above them. Everything about them felt patient, unhurried, content to linger low while the world around them slowly changed. As ages drifted past in long, tranquil waves, these simple carpets of life began reshaping the land beneath them. They held water where none existed before, softened edges of rock, created tiny sanctuaries of stability. Their quiet work laid the foundation for what would come next, though they couldn't know it. And even in their smallness, they represented Earth's first gentle attempt at growth, a soft whisper of possibility, slowly preparing the world for taller dreams. Eventually, as time continued its calm, steady rhythm, plants began experimenting with height. Thin stems pushed upward in timid increments, small leaves reached toward the sun. and new forms emerged with a quiet confidence. Lycophytes rose like slender pillars above the low mosses, their textured trunks catching the light in ways the ground-hugging plants never could. They were modest giants compared to what would follow, yet in their time, they seemed extraordinary, a sign that life had found a new direction to grow. And then came the early ferns, unfurling their fronds in slow, deliberate spirals that felt almost meditative. Each leaf opened as though stretching after a long sleep, reaching farther than the last, creating gentle patterns of shadow upon the earth. Together, lycophytes and ferns formed the planet's first true forests, quiet, emerging sanctuaries where light drifted through layers of green, and the air held the scent of damp, living growth. These were not the towering cathedrals of later ages, but they were the first spaces where the world learned to rise. Around them, the air thickened with the soft breath of photosynthesis, a quiet enrichment that changed the atmosphere itself. Under their growing canopies, the planet began to feel more alive, more textured, more ready for the lives that would one day depend on these early pioneers. It was as if the Earth, once low and simple, had discovered a graceful new posture, learning slowly, gently, how to lift itself upward. And now, as these early forests stretch softly through your imagination, the path ahead begins to shift. The story moves from the first humble steps of growth toward the worlds these forests created, worlds brimming with warm wetlands, rich air, and the quiet stirrings of ancient life waiting beneath their shade. Step softly now into the warm, humid hush of the Carboniferous world, a time when Earth felt like a vast, living greenhouse wrapped in gentle breath and shimmering green light. The air here is thick with moisture and rich with oxygen, carrying a sweetness that settles lightly on the skin. All around you rise colossal trees, towering lycophytes and giant horsetails, stretching upward in quiet ambition, their crowns dissolving into a hazy ancient sky. Beneath them, wide ferns spill across the wetlands in lush, sweeping patterns, creating a landscape that feels both endless and intimate, a soft cradle of life suspended in time. The ground underfoot is spongy and warm, a mosaic of mosses, tangled roots, and shallow pools reflecting faint beams of filtered sunlight. Each step releases an earthy fragrance, damp soil, cooling water, and the subtle scent of living wood settling into the air. The forest holds its breath in long, tranquil intervals, then exhales in soft rustles as the canopy shifts above. You can almost feel the planet's heartbeat here, slow, steady, wrapped in the rhythm of quiet growth. Mist drifts lazily between the trees, curling around thick trunks and floating over still ponds that mirror the green world above. When sunlight breaks through the canopy, it falls in golden shafts that illuminate tiny drifting spores, glowing specks that dance gently before disappearing into the shadows again. Everything moves slowly, as though the forest itself wishes to lull you into its patient, ancient calm. The sounds of this green world arrive softly, layered like a peaceful lullaby. The faint ripple of water sliding through reeds, the whisper of tall horsetails brushing delicately against one another, the low murmur of distant fronds catching a wandering breeze. There are no sharp noises here, no sudden calls, only the serene tapestry of life unfolding at its own unhurried pace. Even the air seems to hum, filled with the quiet strength of forests that breathe deeply under a sky heavy with warmth. And within this dreamy stillness, life thrives in gentle forms. Early insects drift through sunlight beams, their wings shimmering like fragments of glass suspended in air. Some glide effortlessly over the wetlands, others cling to the textured bark of ancient trees, their tiny movements almost imperceptible beneath the shadows. Near the water's edge, early amphibious creatures slip from pool to pool, their bodies glistening as they move with slow, deliberate grace. They pause often, as though listening to the forest's soft instructions, then continue their quiet wandering beneath the towering green vault above. Every detail of this world feels softened, wrapped in the warm breath of a planet learning to flourish. The wetlands stretch outward like gentle mirrors, reflecting both sky and canopy in blurred, dreamlike ripples. Fern fronds sway in slow arcs, creating shifting patterns of light on the forest floor. And through it all, the air remains thick and calm, a reminder of how deeply life here depends on stillness, on moisture, on the steady pulse of the ancient trees. As you drift deeper into this green sanctuary, the forest begins to reveal more than plants alone. Movement stirs beneath broad leaves. Tiny shadows ripple across calm water. Subtle signs that this paradise shelters not just vegetation, but a growing community of creatures finding refuge within its shade. And with this quiet realization, the path ahead shifts, guiding your attention gently from the towering forests themselves toward the lives blossoming softly beneath their protective canopy. In the softened glow beneath the ancient canopy, the smallest inhabitants of the Carboniferous forests moved with deliberate calm. Early insects, amphibians, and delicate in-between forms drifting through pockets of warm, humid air. Their lives unfolded quietly, almost unnoticed beneath the colossal trees above. Yet they shaped the rhythm of the forest with each gentle breath and unhurried motion. Tiny winged creatures floated through beams of filtered light, their fragile bodies shimmering as though dusted with mist. Some clung to towering trunks, pausing in long moments of stillness before lifting away again. Others drifted low over shallow pools where faint ripples marked their passing. Nothing hurried them. Their days unfolded in soft layers, carried by warmth, moisture, and the quiet shelter of leaves. Near the water's edge, early amphibians rested on smooth patches of moss, their bodies glistening softly in the humid glow. They slipped between land and water with slow, practiced ease, rising to breathe, lowering to hide, moving in patient rhythms guided by instinct older than the forests themselves. Each motion blended into the next, creating gentle patterns of life woven through still pools and shaded roots. Other small beings, neither fully insects nor entirely amphibious, wandered softly through the undergrowth. Their steps were quiet taps against damp soil, barely noticeable beneath the humming stillness of the forest. Some explored curled fronds, others nestled into hollows shaped by ancient bark, each finding safety in the layered world below. Here, in this sheltered hush, countless tiny stories unfolded in calm coexistence. Together, these quiet architects shaped the living pulse of the ancient world. Their movement stirred the air, their feeding carved subtle pathways through moss and fallen fronds. Their presence balanced the soft cycles of water and decay. Even their stillness mattered, for every pause, every rest beneath a leaf or beside a pool, allowed the forest to breathe around them in gentle harmony. And yet, despite their quiet roles, they carried a beauty that reached beyond movement. A beauty found in coexistence, in the way thousands of tiny lives settled into the spaces shaped by towering trees above. They asked for nothing more than shelter and moisture, and in return, they completed the forest, filling it with soft textures and subtle rhythms that made the green world feel whole. As you linger with these gentle residents, the forest reveals its deeper stillness, a reminder that every towering world rests on small, unseen foundations. Their quiet labor supported the vast canopy, nourished the soil, and shaped the wetlands in ways invisible at first glance. And with this realization, the focus begins to drift, gently, toward the hidden processes that sustained this ancient sanctuary. In the dimness beneath fronds, their presence feels like a prelude to something larger, an invitation to notice the threads binding life and landscape together. Every wing beat, every ripple,
Every stirring under leaves hints at deeper forces at work, guiding the forest's breath from within. And it is toward those unseen rhythms that our path now turns. Beneath the quiet canopy of ancient forests, the earth moved in long, unhurried breaths, cycles so gentle, so vast, that life felt cradled in their steady rhythm. Carbon drifted through air, soil, and leaf in a slow, looping dance, absorbed by towering trees, released again into the warming sky, then gathered softly back into the world below. It was as if the planet inhaled through its forests and exhaled through its winds, a calm, continuous motion that kept the green world alive. Rainfall followed its own peaceful patterns, guided by warm oceans that stirred like sleeping giants beneath the distant sun. Surface waters warmed, rose, and lifted moisture into the sky, where clouds formed in delicate sweeps and drifted toward the forests in soft silver veils. When the rains finally arrived, they fell with a muted hush, each drop a small note in the quiet symphony of ancient earth. Pools deepened, mosses brightened, and roots drank slowly from the renewed ground, continuing the serene cycle of nourishment. Above the wetlands, the winds moved with patient purpose, shaped by the ocean's warmth and the slow turning of the planet. They carried cool breaths across vast stretches of land, brushing gently against broad fern fronds and the tall trunks of lycophytes. These winds were never hurried. They drifted like thoughtful travelers, distributing moisture, carrying spores, and stitching distant forests together with invisible threads of air. In their wandering, they guided life from one corner of the world to one corner, quietly sustaining every leaf they touched. Even the continents themselves participated in this slow planetary rhythm. They drifted beneath the forests with almost imperceptible grace, shifting over millions of years like great rafts gliding through time. Though their movements were quiet, they shaped everything, redirecting winds, altering rainfall, and creating new basins where wetlands could bloom. The forests responded in kind, expanding where the land welcomed them, retreating where the ground grew cooler or drier, always adapting to the soft tectonic pulse beneath their roots. Together, these cycles formed a gentle harmony, carbon weaving through sky and soil, rain descending from distant seas, winds whispering across ancient leaves, continents gliding beneath the weight of towering green. Every process unfolded slowly, patiently, offering stability to the forests that depended on their calm constancy. Yet, even the most tranquil rhythms carry the possibility of change. As the world breathed through these cycles, small shifts accumulated, subtle variations in warmth, moisture, and light that hinted at transformations to come. And though the forest still swayed with confidence in the humid wind, a quiet truth lingered beneath their shade, that no equilibrium lasts forever, and even the most peaceful worlds eventually turn toward new chapters. And it is toward this gentle turning, this slow invitation to change, that our path now moves. When the Green Kingdom began to fade, 500 words. In the gentle sweep of deep time, the great green world did not vanish in a single moment. It softened, shifted, and slowly unraveled as the planet's quiet rhythms changed. The air that once held warm, heavy moisture began to cool, subtly at first, almost imperceptibly, like a long exhale that took millions of years to complete. Clouds drifted differently across the sky, winds carried new tones of chill, and the rains that once arrived in generous, steady curtains began to fall with less certainty. The forests responded,
Not with panic, but with quiet adjustments. Small changes in growth, slight retreats from places that no longer felt as welcoming. Far beneath the roots, the earth stirred. Volcanic activity rose and faded in patient cycles, releasing pulses of ash and gas that drifted through the atmosphere, soft veils that dimmed sunlight and nudged the climate toward cooler paths. These eruptions were not violent interruptions, but slow conversations between the deep earth and the sky, shaping the world with a steady hand rather than a sudden strike. With each shift, the forests adapted, altering their ranges, adjusting their needs, finding new ways to persist in a planet learning a different rhythm. Wetlands that once stretched endlessly across continents began to contract. Pools grew shallower, soils firmed, and the dense humidity that had wrapped the Green Kingdom for so long lifted little by little. The great lycophyte trees, towering symbols of an earlier age, struggled to thrive as their favored environments changed. Their once vast stands thinned, then thinned again, replaced gradually by plants better suited to the new patterns of moisture and light. The forest floor felt the change as well, its softness yielding to firmer ground, its familiar warmth replaced by gentler, cooler breezes drifting between younger growth. Amphibians and insects felt these shifts in their quiet ways too. Some moved into newly forming habitats, others dwindled as their delicate balance with the forest shifted. Yet even in their challenges, life carried a kind of patient grace. Species evolved new forms, new strategies, new partnerships with the changing land. The transformations were not abrupt. They were slow, contemplative responses to a world gently rearranging itself. Ecosystems reshaped their boundaries as temperatures dipped and coastlines shifted. Rivers meandered differently across the cooling continents, carving new paths that guided the spread of emerging species. The cooling climate encouraged sturdier plants, early seed-bearers and conifers, to rise where the ancient giants had once dominated. These newcomers were not replacements in a dramatic sense. They were simply the next quiet expression of Earth's evolving creativity, filling spaces the fading forests could no longer occupy. The ancient Green Kingdom did not disappear so much as it softened into memory, leaving behind traces of its breath in coal seams, petrified trunks, and the gentle structures of ecosystems that followed. Its passing was a transition, not an ending, a reminder that even the most stable worlds move gradually through cycles of renewal. And as the last great wetlands gave way to different landscapes, the planet prepared itself for new forms of growth. Forests shaped by seeds, by stronger trunks, by cooler winds. Life adjusted, adapted, and continued its slow climb into new eras. It is toward these emerging worlds, shaped by quiet resilience, that our journey now turns. As the ancient wetlands slowly receded, the Earth began experimenting with gentler, more intricate forms of growth. Life shifting its strategies as climates cooled and landscapes broadened. The dense, humid swamps that once nurtured towering lycophytes softened into varied terrains, patches of drier soil, open spaces touched by new patterns of light, and quiet stretches where moisture no longer lingered. In these emerging worlds, plants discovered new ways to rise, to spread, to endure, ways carried not by spores drifting on humid winds, but by seeds, small, sturdy promises tucked into protective shells. Seed-bearing plants unfolded across the land with quiet confidence. Unlike their swamp-bound ancestors, seeds offered resilience, the ability to wait through cold seasons, to rest in dry soil, to travel farther than fragile spores ever could. Each seed carried the memory of forests past and the hope of forests yet to come, wrapped in a tiny form that could ride the wind, float along a river, or settle softly into cracks of cooling earth. As these new plants took root, their presence changed the land's texture, more varied, more adaptable, more prepared for the shifting moods of a cooling world. Conifers rose among them, their tall, slender shapes reaching upward with a calm steadiness. Needles replaced broad leaves, conserving water in a climate that no longer held the constant warmth of the Carboniferous. Their silhouettes cut gentle lines against the sky, quiet, evergreen guardians spreading across hills, valleys, and the newly forming uplands. Their cones, holding seeds tucked like small secrets within layered scales, signaled another step in Earth's evolving creativity. These forests breathed differently. Drier winds moved through their branches, cooler air settled between their trunks. Yet they carried a serene strength shaped by adaptation rather than abundance. As time continued its slow drift, flowering plants began to emerge, delicate at first, almost shy, but guided by an elegance the planet had never seen before.
Their blooms opened like soft exhalations, each petal a fleeting gesture of beauty, shaped by sunlight, soil, and the quiet chemistry of evolution. Flowers offered new colors, new scents, new relationships with the insects that fluttered across the land. Together, they transformed Earth into a richer mosaic, forests layered with diversity, plains warmed by seasonal blossoms, and woodlands filled with shapes and forms no ancient swamp could have imagined. The contrast between past and present deepened softly. Where wetlands once dominated, drier forests now stood. Where colossal trees once competed for humid air, varied ecosystems flourished, some sparse, some dense, some shaped by cold, others warmed by drifting sun. Life had not merely survived change, it had grown more intricate, more curious, more intertwined with the rhythms of shifting climates. And as these new landscapes spread across the continents, the planet carried within them a quiet memory of what came before. Echoes of wetlands sealed in layers of ancient soil, hints of vanished forests preserved in stone and coal. It is toward this geological memory, this deep archive beneath our feet, that our path gently turns, drifting from the realm of living growth into the stories written patiently within Earth's enduring layers. Beneath the quiet surfaces of our modern world, ancient forests linger, not in towering trunks or drifting fronds, but in the soft, patient language of fossils. These are the Earth's time-sealed letters, messages pressed into stone, preserved in resin, carried through ages with a calm devotion to memory. When we trace a finger along a fossilized leaf or study the rings of petrified wood, it feels as though we are touching the breath of a world that whispered in endless shades of green. Coal seams lie deep below, dark and dense, formed from the compressed remains of vast wetlands that thrived in humid stillness. Layer by layer, year by year, those forests settled into the ground, their weight and warmth transformed by pressure into the quiet fuel of geologic time. Holding a piece of coal is like holding a shadow of the Carboniferous, a fragment of a world where trees rose in soft humidity and life moved gently beneath their shade. Amber carries a different voice, clearer, more delicate. Drops of ancient resin hardened slowly, capturing tiny details of forest life within their glowing depths. A wing suspended mid-flutter, a fragment of bark, a drifting spore caught in a moment that never had time to fade. Amber feels like a pause held for millions of years, a soft breath preserved in golden stillness. Through it, we glimpse the fragility and wonder of lives too small to leave marks in stone. And then there is petrified wood. Forests turn to crystal through the patient work of minerals moving through buried trunks. Each piece reflects a slow conversation between biology and geology, as if the tree chose not to disappear, but to
retaining its rings, its grain, its silent architecture in a body made of stone. Holding petrified wood is like holding a memory rendered solid, a bridge between the living world and the deep, unhurried processes beneath it. These remnants, coal, amber, fossils, stone, become gentle storytellers, speaking softly of climates long gone, of forests that breathe differently, of creatures who wandered in rhythms unfamiliar to us now. They remind us that the earth remembers everything, quietly, patiently, even when landscapes shift and eras fade into distant echoes. And as we listen to these ancient voices, our attention drifts naturally toward the present, to the forests that remain alive today, carrying faint reflections of worlds that came before them. Modern canopies sway in winds shaped by new climates, yet their roots still touch the same deep soil, the same patient earth that once held the great green kingdoms of the past. It is toward these living remnants, these quiet heirs of ancient forests, that our journey now gently moves. Across the modern world, scattered like quiet echoes of distant ages, stand the last remnants of Earth's primeval canopies, old-growth forests that hold the soft breath of ancient worlds within their roots and branches. These living sanctuaries feel timeless, as though each tree carries the memory of forgotten eras, whispering gently through its leaves whenever the wind drifts by. To walk among them is to step into a tender conversation between past and present, a reminder that life once wrapped the planet in deep, unbroken green. In temperate forests, the air is cool and fragrant, shaped by centuries of fallen leaves turning softly into soil. Underfoot, the ground feels cushioned, quiet, alive with layers of organic memory. Tall trunks rise like guardians, their bark textured with age, their crowns spreading into soft, overlapping shadows. Light filters down in gentle beams, shifting through branches in slow, dappled patterns. Each step invites you deeper into stillness, into the calm held within trees that have weathered storms, seasons, and centuries with quiet resolve. Farther north, in the vastness of boreal forests, the world takes on a different hush. The air feels cleaner, crisper, carrying faint scents of resin, snow, and cold stone. Spruce and pine stretch endlessly across the land, their needles whispering in soft, rhythmic sighs. The forest floor lies wrapped in mosses that glow faintly beneath subdued light, absorbing sound until even your footsteps seem to dissolve into the silence. Here, time feels slower, stretched thin across long winters and brief summers, each year adding another ring to trunks that stand as patient witnesses to deep history. In the tropics, the old-growth forests breathe with warm abundance. Moisture hangs in the air like a shimmering veil, carrying the sense of rich soil, blooming plants, and leaves warmed by sun. Layers of canopy rise in gentle tiers, broad leaves catching filtered beams, vines coiling in slow spirals, distant calls echoing faintly through humid air. The colors feel deeper, the textures more intricate, and yet the sense of age is just as strong. Beneath towering trunks wrapped in roots like ancient sculptures, you feel the same quiet continuity that links all these forests together. Each ecosystem, temperate, boreal, tropical, holds its own voice, its own rhythm, yet all share a common resonance, a soft reminder of the primeval canopies that once covered the earth. They carry echoes of swamps where lycophytes rose, shadows of ferns that unfurled in humid light, hints of creatures that wandered long before recorded time. These forests are living whispers, breathing gently through centuries, offering glimpses into worlds both familiar and long vanished. As you linger in their presence, letting filtered light play across your imagination, letting soft soil, cold air, or warm humidity guide your senses, a quiet reflection begins to settle. You feel how these forests bridge the past and the present, how they stand as gentle testaments to endurance, to adaptation, to the long memory of Earth. And with that realization, the path ahead opens naturally toward a more introspective space, toward a closing chapter that invites you not only to witness Earth's history, but to listen to the quiet echoes it still carries within us. In the soft quiet of your own mind, there is a place shaped by forests, a gentle inner landscape formed not by memory alone, but by the long thread of evolution that ties us to the trees. Even if you have never walked through an ancient canopy, some part of you recognizes the feeling of filtered light, the whisper of leaves, the steady presence of tall trunks rising like guardians. These sensations touch something deep, something older than language, reminding us of a time when human life unfolded in close conversation with the natural world. And in that connection, we find a calm that feels like returning home. Psychology speaks of this comfort gently. Forests slow the heart, soften the breath, ease the tension hidden beneath thought. They invite the mind to move at a different rhythm, one shaped by patience rather than haste. When we imagine standing beneath towering branches or sinking our feet into cool soil, the body responds as though the experience were real, relaxing into a quieter state of being. It is as if the nervous system carries its own memory of green worlds long gone, ready to unfurl whenever we let the mind drift back to them. Nature science offers its own explanation, woven just as softly. Early humans lived beneath trees, relied on them for shelter, watched them mark the seasons with rising leaves and falling light. Trees were stability in an unpredictable world,
offering food, protection, and a sense of orientation on long journeys across the land. Those ancient relationships shaped us quietly, embedding a sense of safety in the shapes and patterns of forest life. When we stand beneath branches today, that deep familiarity returns, not as a thought, but as a feeling, a quiet recognition. Memory too plays its gentle part. The scent of pine, the sound of rain on leaves, the cool touch of shaded air. These sensations linger in the mind, even when the forest is far away. They blend with personal moments, childhood afternoons spent outdoors, peaceful walks at dusk, the comforting rustle of leaves outside a window. Together, these memories weave a soft inner canopy that we carry with us, offering refuge in moments when the world feels too bright or too loud. And so, the forests that remain on Earth today speak to us in more ways than one. They remind us of the past, yes, but also of a profound continuity. Every old-growth stand, every quiet path, every tree rising from ancient soil reflects a connection that has never been fully broken. Preservation becomes more than a scientific effort. It becomes an act of honoring something that lives within us, something that steadies the breath and settles the mind. As you rest here, imagining the gentle sway of branches, the soft glow of light filtered through leaves, the cool hush of shaded air, feel how these images settle into your thoughts. Let them drift through your senses like a quiet lullaby, reminding you that the calm you find in forests is not separate from you. It is part of your own inner landscape, a quiet home you can return to whenever you need stillness. And as this journey through ancient worlds draws to a close, let the lingering echo of green light guide you gently toward rest, toward sleep, toward a tranquil sense of wonder that remains long after the forest fades from view.